Hello everyone. By the way, I'm Gian de los Trico, BS Social Work 2A. For this report, I'm going to discuss the history of social welfare in the Philippines. The history of social welfare in the Philippines. The content of my report is the first is the Spanish period. Next one is the American period, and the last is Japanese occupation. So let's proceed to the Spanish period, the history of the Spanish period time. The history of Spanish period, many change took place in the Philippines and economic life with the coming of Spaniards, like hospital, orphanage, and school were maintained using subsidies and grants for the Spanish government. So in Spanish period, we tackle about the community were grouped together to form pueblos, or creating large concentration of people in an area, which resulting in the health and sanitation problem, personal maladjustment, and economic dislocation. So the motive of the Spanish period were religions, that is to do good to the other for the salvation of their soul. So this was the teaching of church, which the Spanish brought with them all social welfare in the country. So this period start the build hospital, orphanage, and schools. So let's proceed to the hospital they built in this period. Next is the hospital of San Lazaro Hospital in 1578. Took care of indigents, beggars, and sick natives. So when the American arrived, it was renamed Sternberg General Hospital. The San Lazaro Hospital, found in 1578, and San Juan de Jose Hospital, found in 1596, are reported to have originated from this hospital. So San Juan de Jose Hospital in 1596 took care of the indigents and sick Spaniards, and Hospicio de San Jose Hospital 1885 for the cares of orphan and the aged. The last is San Gabriel Hospital, San Jose de Hospital, Nueva Cáceres in Naga, Hospital for Cabalant and Bagong Bayan. So let's proceed to asylums and orphanage. Asilo din San Vicente de Paul, or 1885, for the care and protection for indigent and orphaned girls. Did you know that in 1885, the Asilo de San Vicente de Paul, an asylum for girls, was established, offering religion, instruction, primary education, and training in housework to the inmates. This institution became well-known because of the good management and well-training and discipline given its ward. Another outstanding original lead to the home of aged and orphan. Schools. Santa Isabel, the school for indigent girls. San Juan de Letran, the schools for indigent boys age. Well, the hospital Asylums, orphanage, and school were maintained using subsidies and grants for the Spanish government. However, this is not sufficient, and donation for philanthropic individuals were also societies. Well, the first republic, 1896 and 1902. So first, Hilary Aguinaldo, wife of President of she was the first Philippine Republic introduced the concept of Red Cross. So in our history, the outbreak of revolution against the Spanish government and the country lead to the effort that were directly mainly at the sake of wooden Filipino soldiers who needed medical care at religions order like Himanos responded, and several women provided leadership in nursing the wounded in the battleship, particularly after the execution of Dr. Jose Rizal on December 30, 1897. The National Association of Red Cross was organized in 1899 to provide medical supplies and food to the revolutionaries in the province of Luzon. So one of the nurses and helped to take good care of many wounded soldier is Tandang Sara Melchor Aquino, took care for the sick and wounded and feed the soldiers. So let's proceed to American period. So this period, we know that many happening involved to this period, and we can gain many learnings about this period. So in American period, there are many years that establish the many public assistance and etc. So let's start in 1905. Established the Philippine chapter of American Red Cross. Well, in 1905, the Philippine chapter of American Red Cross, one of the first branches to be organized in American terrorists, was established to take charge of disaster reliefs in the country, to administer American Red Cross funds from the United States. So next is the La Gota de Leche. In 1907, the La Gota de Leche was established to furnish child caring institution with fresh cow milk from a dairy farm in Pasay, Manila, supervised by a veterinarian. So this agency later opened a free consultation clinic for all mothers. Next years is 1910, Philippine Anti-Tuberculosis Society and Philippine Normal School for Deaf and Blind. So in 1910, the Philippine Anti-Tuberculosis Society organized the first meeting of Far Eastern Association of Tropical Medicine in Manila, with its aim of encouraging research and data collection about tuberculosis and to combat the spread of the disease. An organization succeed in securing government support in 1911. So next year is 1913, Association of the Damas Filipinas. So Association of the Damas Filipinas was organized by civil spirit women to help destitute mothers and their children using funds obtained by the membership fees and later funds granted by the Public Welfare Board in 1926. Next is the Public Welfare Board in 1917. So, Public Welfare Board or PWB was created and was tasked to study or coordinate and regulate all governments and private entities engaged in social service. So next is number 6, the Government Social Welfare. In January 1917, a government orphanage was set up in Makati, Rizal, the first government entity to operate as a welfare agency and an initial step in child welfare services. So we all know that social welfare is engaged with child welfare care and law. So this child welfare leads to the establishment of more child care institutions for orphanage, abandoned and neglected children, for feeble-minded children, for non-leprous children of leprous parents, and for the care and training and treatment of juvenile delinquents. Did you know that in 1924, the Philippine Legislature passed a law, the Philippine Legislature Act number 3203, relating to the care of custody of neglected and delinquent children and providing provision officer for them. Another year that involved of child caring established in 1926. Some of the children in the government orphanage in Makati were transferred to the welfare villa of 50-hectare compound in San Felipe Neri, now in Mandaluyong, Rizal, supervised by the Division of Department of Children and the Office of the Public Welfare Commission. The Bureau of Public Welfare in 1941. So one of the functions of Bureau of Public Welfare is to coordinate, supervise, and relate all service activity. Number 2 is to provide social services to children with special needs. Number 3 is to provide public assistance to needy individuals and families. So, in 1921, the PWB was abolished and replaced by the Bureau of Public Welfare under the Department of Public Instruction. So in 1944, the Bureau of Public Welfare officially became a part of all Department Child Caring Institute and the provision of child welfare services. Next, we proceed to the Japanese occupation period in 1942 to 1944. So after the revelation year of relief and rehabilitation period in 1945 and 1950, relief works continue to play important roles. Social workers of the Philippines Wirelifts Incorporated, organized in the United States by a group of sympathetic Americans, accompanied the Liberating Army with its landed in Leyte in 1945. So in this period, the Second World War, which brought many death and immeasurable suffering to the country, population was to lost 3 years from 1942 to 1944. So other relief agencies which were active in the distribution of goods to the needed war victims were the Emergency Relief Office, the Emergency Commission Administration, the Philippine Civil Affairs Unit, and the Philippine Relief and Trade Rehabilitation Administration, or PATRA. Relief's goods were always brought in by the United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration, of UNRRA. Well, next is the PCSA in 1948 to 1950, or the President Action Committee of Social Amelioration, was established by President Elpidio Quirino to counteract the social unrest dissidents. So PACSA, it has a 6-point program, so which are the education, health, social welfare, agriculture, and public and financing. Well, let's review the history of PACSA. In August 1948, the Philippines, the President Quirino created the President Action Committee on Social Amelioration, which is PACSA, which was charged with the duty of giving relief assistance to the hungry, the homeless, and sick, to the victim of dissidents, depression, and violence. And it's involved a comprehensive program of health, education, welfare, agriculture, and public works and financing. So let's proceed to the stabilization of government and social welfare in 1950s. Number one of this is child welfare. So involved on this, the child welfare care is residential care, child aid and placement, provision and paroles. Next is number two is public assistance for indigent war victims, for the victims of dissident operations, for the victims of national disasters and calamities. Next slide is the strengthening of government of social welfare in 1960s. So A is revitalization of the child welfare program, public and private, from residence care to strengthening of the family unit of foster home care, needed children and services, aftercare, and many more. So it's involved the many public and private problems that needs to solve and needs assistance. So number two is increasing professional of social work and service training and study grant for a master degree in social work was made available to social workers in the public and private agency. So in these years, there is a lack of social worker, professional social worker. It's very very less or gamay ra. So next slide is a development of social welfare in 1970s. So the social welfare enhanced the social functioning of individuals as a human being, participating and contributing to the benefiting from the country development. So number 2 is contribute directly to the development process, such as those that help improve the level of living and assure a more equitable distribution of income and wealth. Let's go back to the strengthening of government and social welfare. So in 1968, known as a Social Welfare Act of 1968, created the Department of Social Welfare, placing it under the executive branch of government. In 1976, the Department of Social Welfare was renamed by Department of Social Service and Development, or DSSD, through Presidential Decree number 994, this signed into law by President Ferdinand E. Marcos. So let's continue to social welfare provides supportive and complementary service. So one of this is the education, number 2 is health and nutrition, number 3 is population planning, number 4 employment and community development, 5 housing, slum clearance and relocation, number 6 is manpower development. We all know that the vision of many agencies in our country is to eradicate poverty, empower and disadvantaged individuals, family, and communities with the capability to improve their quality of life through the provision of many agencies and other members of civil society. So there are many learnings that we gain on this report and on this topic. I hope you really enjoy listening to my report, and thank you.